Your coding agent just burned through a fat context window. Did it ship anything? Most cost dashboards can't answer that. Agentacct can, and it does it entirely on your machine. Agentacct went from v0.1.0 to v0.5.1 across July 2026. 5 minor versions in 1 month, which tells you this is moving fast but is still early. Here's what the changelog actually shows. v0.3.0 added native reading of OpenCode's local session database. The actual opencode.db file on disk, no API shim required. v0.4.0 moved all config and storage to an XDG-compliant machine-wide location, which means 0 config files inside your repos. That's a meaningful hygiene call. Your cost ledger doesn't belong committed next to your source code. v.5.0 and v.5.1 standardize the MCP tooling under agentacct, prefixes and environment variables under agentacct. That's the kind of namespacing discipline you want before you wire something into a shared team environment. Here's the architectural bet agentacct is making, and it's worth understanding clearly. Most cost tooling conflates 2 different problems. Problem 1, what tokens did the model consume? That's usage truth. It lives in your local session logs. Problem 2, what work did those tokens correspond to? That's work meaning, and it's genuinely hard to answer. Agentact's position is that you should not paper over that gap with heuristics. Instead, it reads your native local session logs directly, maps them through MCP events, and where it can't make a confident attribution, it surfaces an explicit gap rather than inventing a number. The dashboard runs entirely on 127.0.01. No cloud telemetry, no external network calls, no login. The store is local SQLite. If you're on a team that can't let agent session data leave the machine, regulated industry, air-gapped environment, just basic paranoia about what your tooling phone's home, that's a real differentiator. 2 peers worth knowing about, both from the Claude Code tooling ecosystem. First, claude-code-otel. That project takes the open telemetry route. Standard instrumentation, pipeline cost tracking, fits into whatever observability stack you already have. If your team is already running Grafana or Honeycomb and you want agent costs to land there alongside your service traces, Otel is the natural fit. Agentacct is not trying to be that. It's not emitting spans. It's a local accounting ledger, not an observability pipeline. Second, claude-code-ui. That's a real-time graphical dashboard for visualizing and managing multi-session Claude code flows across a workspace. Think session management and live visibility. Agentact's angle is different. It's specifically about matching spend to verified work outcomes, not live session orchestration. So the honest framing is, these aren't direct substitutes. They're solving adjacent problems. You could plausibly run agentacct alongside either of them. The sourced head-to-heads beyond these 2 are thin, so I'm not going to invent a broader shortlist. 3 audiences where this is worth a serious look. Engineering leads doing FinOps on agent spend. If you're trying to answer, did that expensive context window correlate with a passing test suite or a concrete refactor? Agentacct is built for exactly that question. It's not giving you a cloud bill summary. It's giving you a work attribution ledger. Second, privacy-conscious teams. Completely offline, no source code exposure, no user login. If your security posture makes cloud-based agent monitoring a non-starter, this is worth evaluating. Third, workflow auditors. Anyone who needs to demonstrate that agent-assisted work actually produced verifiable outputs, not just token consumption. Now, who should probably wait? If you're on a large enterprise with flat-rate subscription seats or complex token bucket rate limits, the brief flags an open question. How cleanly does a local pricing ledger map to those billing models over time? That's not solved yet. And if your team uses a mix of proprietary agent CLIs and IDE extensions that don't expose clean structured local logs, the read-only log parser may hit fragmentation problems as that ecosystem keeps splintering. This is a watch with a conditional pilot. Here's what I'd actually do. If you're running Claude Code, Codex, or OpenCode locally, and you've been hand-waving at agent costs without real attribution, Spin up agentacct this week. It's v0.5.1, the XDG store is clean, the MCP prefix is standardized, the scaffolding is in reasonable shape for a tool this young. Run it for 2 weeks against real work. Check whether the attribution gaps it surfaces honestly match your intuition about where the model was doing useful work versus spinning. That's the real test. What I would not do yet, wire it into a shared team environment as the authoritative cost accounting system. It's one developer's project at v0.5.1. The open questions around enterprise billing models and CLI fragmentation are real. Treat it as a diagnostic instrument, not a finance system. And keep an eye on how fast the log parsers track the underlying agent CLIs. That's the fragility point as OpenCode and others keep shipping. Agentacct is making a specific, defensible architectural call. Don't guess at attribution, surface the gap honestly. For a v0.5.1 tool, that's a more principled position than most cost dashboards ship with. The repo is at github.com, Mike Hassa, agentacct. Link in the description. If you're already running claude-code-otel or claude-code-ui, drop a comment on whether you see these as complementary or redundant in your setup. I'm genuinely curious. See you next episode.